Hello and welcome to the class. Once again, I'm Andrew Mead. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm excited to show you everything that GraphQL can do. In this class, we're going to learn what GraphQL is, why it's useful, and we're going to figure out how we can use GraphQL to build better applications. Now, we'll get to all of that shortly, but in this welcome video, there are a couple of specific things I want to cover. First up, we're going to talk about how we'll be learning GraphQL, so we'll break down the course curriculum and the basic structure for the class. After that, I want to offer up just a couple of quick tips and tricks that are going to help you get the most out of the class and the most out of our time together. It'll take just maybe 5 minutes, but those 5 minutes will improve the next 25 hours of the class, hopefully providing you a ton of value. So let's jump right in and talk about the course curriculum. The course itself is broken up into two major parts. In part one, we're going to start by exploring the fundamentals of GraphQL, and we're going to figure out how we can integrate GraphQL into a Node.js app so we can start to build our very own applications from scratch. So in part one, the focus is on those fundamental features, those core building blocks, and figuring out how we can put them all together to create a GraphQL backend. In part one, we're not going to worry about more advanced features like authentication or database data storage. Those will come a little bit later in the class in part two. The goal of part one is to focus on the syntax of GraphQL and those core fundamental features. Now, once we're comfortable with GraphQL, we're going to move on to part two, and that's where we're going to start to put everything together to create a complete application with features like user accounts, authentication, database data storage, an automated test suite, and a production deployment setup. By the end of the class, you'll have a real-world GraphQL backend deployed live to a production environment. So part one, we explored those core building blocks. Part two, we start to put everything together to create a real-world, meaningful application. All right, let's continue on with this video and explore a couple of quick tips and tricks that can help you get the most out of the class. This course is designed to be completely interactive, so everything I'm doing on my machine is something you should be doing on your machine as well. So as we explore a new topic for the first time, we'll end up writing some code together. We'll talk about what the feature is, how it works, then we'll integrate it into our application and run the app to see it function. It's important that you do this as well on your own machine. Now, this is a little bit of monkey see, monkey do behavior where you're just copying what I'm doing. That is perfectly fine for when we're first exploring a topic. Now, when it comes to building up your own problem-solving experience, the monkey see, monkey do pattern no longer works. That's why I've included over 80 programming challenges designed to give you real-world problem-solving experience. So I'll set you up with the problem, I'll give you some time to go off and solve it, then we'll come back together and work through a potential solution. So both of these are really important. Write the code that I end up writing and give the challenges an honest try. If you do that, you're going to get to the end of the class, you'll understand GraphQL, and you'll know how to use it to solve real-world problems and build your own applications, and that is my goal for you. All right, let's jump into the final part for this welcome video and talk about how you can get help if you need to. The last thing I want to talk about is how you can get help if you need it. So as you're moving through the course, you might get stuck. Maybe you're running your application and instead of getting what I get in the video, you get some sort of unexpected output or some sort of cryptic error message. Or maybe you just need clarification on a topic and you're confused as to why we're using one technique over another. Regardless of what's going on, you can get help in the course Q&A. You can find a link to the course Q&A below the video player for each and every lesson. There you can browse previously asked and answered questions, and you can likely find a solution to your problem right away. If not, that's fine too. You can always crack open a brand new question. All that I ask is that you provide as much information as possible. This includes screenshots of your output or error messages and zips of your project code, so I can recreate the issue and figure out what's going wrong. As a reminder, for each and every lecture where we write code, I include a lecture zip. This contains all of the code up to that point in the class. So if you suspect your problem is code related, you can always download the lecture zip and compare your code to mine to figure out what's going wrong right away. All right, that's it for this welcome video. Let's continue on with the rest of the class.